Welcome back, everybody. Part 2 of our drivers' press conference here in Jeddah. Closest to me, Kevin Magnussen. To his right, Esteban Ocon, Lance Stroll, Sergio Perez and Lewis Hamilton. Very warm welcome to you all. Kevin, you're in the hot seat. Let's start with you. Let's throw it back a couple of weeks to Bahrain. You said after the race that you were pleasantly surprised by the pace of the car. How much confidence does that give you coming to this race?
Yeah, I think we, during testing we saw that race, high fuel running was a weakness and especially tire wear. So we expected the race to be really tough, and it was tough, of course. But my starting position made it very tough, and then the strategy that we ran wasn't great either. So I think the positive that we took away was that we were actually reasonably competitive and competitive enough to fight for the top 10. So that's what we're taking away and looking forward to see if we can challenge a bit more here. It's a smoother surface. It's not gonna be as hard for the rear tires as Bahrain. So maybe that could help us.
How much potential does this car have?
I think it has. It has good potential. The team is in a good position right now. There's a lot of good things happening in the team, and we're gonna, look forward to sort of a development process that's gonna look a lot different than it did last year. So we can actually work on a few things that we can change and look forward to.
What sort of feeling are you getting from it? Do you feel as comfortable in it as you did at the start of last year?
No, I think that the cars have become a little trickier this year with the tweaks that was to the rules and the floor. They're a little more sort of sensitive in a few areas, like wind. When you get a gust of wind, you can feel that a little more in traffic with dirty air, stuff like that. So there are definitely weaknesses that we're working on, but I think it does seem like there's some potential.
All right. Best of luck this weekend. Thank you, Kev. Esteban, coming to you now. Definitely a weekend of two halves for you last time out. Let's start with Saturday, qualifying 9th. Does this car have the pace to get into Q3 at every race? What are you feeling?
It's definitely what we are targeting, and we've done that, in Bahrain. It's definitely not our best circuit as an whole. Last year was a pretty similar thing. We got P9 in qualifying, but we qualified 5th here, and we've been recently very strong out on this track, and it's a track that I've been enjoying racing at. So hopefully we can repeat the same, be competitive, and have a good race weekend.
Let's talk about Sunday now. Bahrain, lots of penalties. How do you and the team prevent something like that happening again?
Yeah, I mean, we admit our mistakes in Bahrain. We clearly, got it wrong. There's a saying that says when it rains, it pours. So that's what happened, to us in Bahrain. And collectively, we were usually very good on operational things like that. And this time we were not. So I had a meeting with the FIA just to understand, what exactly happened. And it's clear now, and we move forward.
And on the grid, if you've gone too far forward as you had, just for those of
that was not. It was too much to the right, basically. So that's why it could get confusing, because it was basically too much to the right and over the line.
And were you aware at the time that you were too much to the right? And what is to stop you just reversing and getting straight? Not time.
No. Unfortunately, you can't see very well in these cars, especially not when you are on the grid like that. You can see the yellow line as a reference, but that's up to me to fix that.
All right. Well, look, best of luck this weekend. Go well. Thank you. And Lance, can we come to you, please? What an incredible performance by you in Bahrain. Just first up, how were your wrists after the race? Painful?
Thanks. Yeah. Pretty painful on the Monday after, but it was a good weekend for the team. So worth a bit of pain.
And what difference does 10 days make? How much easier and more movement do you have now compared to last time out?
Yeah, I'm getting better every day. It's feeling better every day. So I think the worst part is behind me, and still not 100%. It takes a bit of time for these things to heal, but I'm definitely feeling much better than I was 10 days ago or whatever we were in Bahrain.
And Lance, of course, you had no pre-season testing, so you were coming into that race weekend on the back foot. How much better prepared do you feel here, and how much have you learnt about the car?
Yeah, I mean, it was nice to get in the car in Bahrain, at least for the race, to get a few laps under my belt, and not ideal missing the test, but it was Bahrain was the race weekend was almost just like every lap was just more and more experience in the car and getting to grips with it and learning more about the car every lap. And yeah, I mean, just in the race, like that was, the first time I was on the C1 tire, and just things like that. So it was just a good experience to be in the car during the weekend, and I was happy to make it, just really also just for that, for a bit of seat time and all that. So yeah, getting more and more comfortable every lap in the car in Bahrain. So looking forward to this weekend.
Now, all eyes on Aston Martin, people wanting to see if you can repeat the performance level of last time out. Are you confident?
Yeah, we hope so, for sure. I mean, the car was really competitive throughout the whole weekend in Bahrain. I think the guys have done an incredible job over the winter to build this car, and I think we're still learning about it. So it's still a work in progress, and I'm excited to see how we go this weekend. It's a very different kind of track. Bahrain's low speed, and here's much higher speed. So I think we'll learn a lot more this weekend and see how we go.
All right, sure you will. Thank you, Lance. Best of luck to you. Checo, coming to you, our pole man here in Jeddah last year. Just how much confidence does that pole from last year give you coming into this weekend?
Yeah, it certainly gives me good confidence because I feel comfortable in the circuit. But every year it's a new challenge. We come here with different car, different tires, so it's gonna be different challenges. The track, it's a little bit different, so I think it's the beauty of our sport, that it doesn't really matter what you've done here in the past. Every year it's a new challenge. So yeah, I certainly enjoy a lot the circuit. I think it's a great challenge for all the drivers, especially on Saturday in qualifying. So yeah, hopefully we can get a good quali, because it's really important here.
Just while you're talking about the track, can we get your thoughts on the changes they've made since last year? The improved sight lines, the different curbs, the rumble lines?
Yeah, I actually gonna have a look later on the circuit. I tried it on the sim, but obviously I have to wait and see it once I'm on the track.
All right, you've said it's a very different challenge here, but in reality, is there any reason why Red Bull won't be as dominant here as they were last time out?
Yeah, I think it's a very different circuit here. The requirements are very different. The degradation is not as severe as Bahrain. We certainly believe that Ferrari is going to be pretty strong around this place. So certainly Aston's Mercedes are going to be a lot closer to us, because the requirements are very different here.
So can we conclude from what you've just said that your strengths are through the slow speed corners?
Yeah, and I think looking after the tires, I think we got it right in Bahrain. I think few teams probably didn't optimize their cars or their strategy with the tires as much as we were able to do. So, but here is just very different, because here the requirements are extremely different.
All right, Checo, thank you very much. Best of luck to you. Lewis, thank you for waiting. Now look, 5th in Bahrain this year, having finished 3rd in that race last year. Do you feel closer to the front this year than you did last year?
No.
You feel that the gap between you and Red Bull is greater?
Yeah.
And having been through all the data,
answer,
yeah, no, but been through all the data, where do you feel you're losing out to someone like Checo around the track?
It's not on the straights. I think last year we were very draggy, and we were struggling not only on the straights. We had to take a much bigger wing, but we were equaling, or if not losing, in the corners. As where this year it's mostly through the corners. I think down the straights we're quick, but exits, these guys have a lot of rear end through majority of the corners. So I think in the race they weren't pushing. and so I think they're a lot quicker than they even seemed. So, but we have it as them as second and a half faster in the race per lap and something like that.
Given what you've just said, are you having to reevaluate the year as a whole in terms of your own objectives?
Already once I drove the car for the first time, you kind of already start to do that as you learn more about the car and you understand what the challenges are going to be that you're facing. And we're very in a similar mentality-wise as we were last year, where we're just really working as hard as we can, staying one as a team, you know, trying to all remain positive, as obviously it's a shock when you find out that the car's not where you want it to be. But everyone's working on the solution, and I have 100% confidence in everyone just doing their job. You don't all of a sudden lose the ability to build great cars. It's just we're not where we need to be and where we want to be, and we just got to keep on working on it.
But Lewis, given your level of success in this sport and given how long you've been doing it, what does what you've just said do to your motivation?
Nothing really. You just redirect your energy. It's just different. If you're fighting for a world championship, which is what you prepare for at the beginning of the season, you realize that that's not the case, and then you redirect the energy into building and strengthening the team, supporting everyone in the best way you can, and you continue to prepare the same for the races in a sense of your fitness and your mental approach. But we're not fighting for we need the Rebels not to finish the race and the Ferraris not to finish the race, and maybe now the Astons not to finish the race for us to be winning at the moment. But that doesn't mean we can't catch them up, and so that's what it's none of us at this team have ever kind of shied away from a challenge. So we enjoy the challenge. We would much prefer to be at the front, but it isn't the way it is. So.
Okay, Lewis, thank you for that. We're going to open this to the floor now. Who's got our first question, please?
Simon Lazenby, Sky Sports. Question for Lewis. Lewis, you were saying after Bahrain that you felt like last year the team didn't listen to you with regards to certain issues with the car. Can I ask you what specifically you meant by that? What areas? Do you feel like you're being listened to now? And also, are you determined to sort this out and remain with Mercedes and get back to winning ways? Or is your head turned by the pace of others? And would you look elsewhere?
I mean, in hindsight, I think looking back, it wasn't necessarily the best choice of words, but no, I mean, there are times where you're not in agreement with certain team members, but what's important is that we continue to communicate, we continue to pull together. I still have 100% belief in this team. It is my family, and I've been here a long time, so I don't plan on going anywhere else. But we all need a kick. We all need to get on. We've seen the proof is in the pudding. We've seen where the performance is and how people are extracting the performance, and we've got to now start making some bold decisions, some big moves in order to close the gap to these guys. Otherwise, they're gonna. I mean, they will run away with it most likely this year, unless Ferrari can probably stop them. But which we'll wait and see. But as I said, hopefully at some point during the year we're hopeful we might be able to close the gap. But at that point it'll be probably too late in terms of fighting for a championship. But we could still turn some heads, hopefully.
Lewis, you say bold decisions need to be taken. Have they already been taken since Bahrain?
I think we're in the process of it, yes.